Hey everybody, I want to talk about the subject that I don't think anybody has really addressed that much, and it became something that kind of hit home a little bit more when one of my sisters-in-law was diagnosed very recently with type 2 diabetes. This has to do with prepping. It does. I was thinking recently that so many of our preps, the rice and beans, even though I know it's complete protein, there's rice. Now, we only buy parboiled rice because parboiled rice is better than regular long grain white rice. What happens is parboiled is boiled in the husk. All the vitamins are pushed to the inner kernel. That means that then when it's husked, it maintains more of its nutrition than the regular white rice. My husband doesn't care for brown rice, so he'll eat it, but he doesn't really like it. So we eat the parboiled rice because it's more nutritious than regular long grain white rice because of the way it's processed. But it occurred to me that so many of our preps are so high in carbohydrate. Rice, oats, breads, flours, even things like that you might have, like I have in my freezer, boxes of like cereal bars, protein bars. I have a few of those. Every once in a while, when you really just want something sweet, just one of those little cereal bars has just enough sweet that it might, curb that little craving. But recently, it really kind of hit home when I thought, what about someone like my sister-in-law who has type 2 diabetes, and newer information shows that, now I'm not really an expert on type 2 diabetes, however, the old way of doing things, the old way of treating that is kind of, well, old, archaic, outdated. It's been discovered that type 2 diabetes can actually be cured, or for a better word is go into remission. You can fix your type 2 diabetes, and a lot of that has to do with eating eating a diet high in protein and fat. Low-fat diets never worked in this country. In fact, after they started saying, oh, well, we need to eat low fat, people got fatter and fatter and fatter. And then they got artificial foods, and it got worse and worse and worse. And so our country's national health went down. Real food, as close to nature as possible, is the best way to eat in general. However, someone who has been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, probably the worst thing to do is begin eating a lot of starchy foods. It's going to keep them on medication, whereas if you eat a lot of high protein foods, meats, vegetables that grow above ground, not root vegetables, which tend to be higher in sugar, like potatoes, which I do have a lot of in my preps, potatoes and carrots and beets, beet sugar, remember, things that grow above the ground, meats, fats, good grass-fed dairy. Those are what you eat on a ketogenic eating plan. I don't want to say a ketogenic diet because it is not a diet. It is it's a way of living. Imagine someone who is managing all their health issues by an eating plan such as this, and all of a sudden SHTF hits and they suddenly have to get into their survival foods, the rice and the beans and the pastas and the oatmeal. What if they haven't prepped for the way they actually eat? That's why people keep saying, please prep the things that you actually eat. Well, it's a little more difficult. Say if the grid goes down and you've got a lot of meat in your freezer, you've got a problem. So you need to have canned meats, canned vegetables, home canned or freeze-dried, dehydrated. A while back I did a video on one of my favorite small meals, and I did a video saying you should Start learning to eat less, smaller meals, less frequent meals. And there's been a lot said by a lot of doctors who talk about type 2 diabetes, talking about intermittent fasting. And that doesn't necessarily mean going days and days without food. That can just be something as simple as stop eating at lunchtime and don't eat until the next morning. Periods of 16, 18 hours, even 24 hours of no food. But I talked a while back about a product that I really think is a great way to get your protein, your fat, and eat less, learn to eat less at the same time, but without sacrificing your flavor. And that are these little tuna pouches. These tuna pouches are what, 2.6 ounces. So they're like a 3-ounce can of tuna, but even less than that. But these have a lot of flavor. This one happens to be herb and garlic. This is the Great Value brand, which is much cheaper. Prices are going up, people. These were $1. They've gone up to $1.24 at my Walmart. The Great Value, however, even though there's not as much choice and flavors, the Great Value are still at 92 cents at my Walmart. These have gone from $1 to $1.24 a piece, and I would bet they're going to end up being $1.50 before long. They say by 2030 prices are going to go up by 400%. Yikes. But someone who has type 2 diabetes, they need to stay away from the bread, and that means even the whole grain breads they need to stay away from. My sister-in-law grew up eating what I call Southern slop, and guess what that actually entails? Rice and beans. Rice and beans, a lot of fried meats, a lot of potatoes, fried meats, rice and beans, all potatoes, everything, a lot of starches and a lot of fried stuff all at the same meal. But you cannot eat a lot of carbs, and you can't eat even the whole grain. You need to stay away from all bread, and you're supposed to stay away from all rice. Well, what if this hits and you can't get your fresh meats? So having things like this on hand, take one of these, take a teaspoon of mayonnaise, mix it in a bowl. If you have to, sprinkle a few oyster crackers on it, which is, it's just like a very basic little saltine taste. Just gives it a little bit of a saltine taste. It's not really, they're not really salty. And we use a mayonnaise that doesn't even have any sugar in it. Duke's mayonnaise, which I get in the South, my favorite mayonnaise. I don't really like mayonnaise, but when I started buying Duke's mayonnaise, I love that, and it does not have any sugar. It's sugar-free. It's one of the few mayos on the market that's sugar-free and has excellent flavor. But I take one of these, put it in a bowl, put a teaspoon of Duke's mayo in there, mix it up, maybe sprinkle a few oyster crackers. Every once in a while I'll take some of those, I get these bags of the French fried onions, that people make those green bean casseroles with. I've never made one of those. I've never had one of those. But take one of these, sprinkle a few of those on there. Take some of my home canned pickles, maybe get a pickle and stick it in there. And that's my lunch. Or my supper sometimes. I often skip supper. Start skipping meals, but in your preps, start getting some protein, actual unadulterated simple meat protein. Someone drew my attention, I forgot the prepper's name. I watched his Prepper Pantry video. It's the first video of his I've ever seen, and he mentioned Keystone Meats. Now, I'm probably late to the party, but I didn't know anything about Keystone Meats, canned meats. They have these 14.5 or 28-ounce cans of beef, chicken, pork, ground beef, turkey. But what's different about these than, say, the can of roast beef you might get at Walmart? These have 2 ingredients, the meat and the salt, sea salt. That's it. No caramel coloring, no sodium phosphate or whatever the preservatives are. Meat, salt. That's it. I ordered some from Walmart and from Amazon. You need to shop the prices because Walmart's beef, or was it chicken? Walmart's chicken was $6.28 for a 28-ounce can, whereas Amazon's was $8.79 for the same can. So you need to kind of shop. But Walmart was out of a lot of stuff. They didn't have the pork, whereas Amazon had the pork. And I got the pork from Amazon, and I got beef and chicken from Walmart, which is being delivered today. But Keystone Meats, canned meats, this prepper guy had he had shelves and shelves of Keystone meats. And the good thing about them is they don't have all the artificial garbage in them. The ingredients on the beef can said beef, sea salt. That's it. So I'm starting to put some of those type of canned meats in my preps, because even though beans and rice are a complete protein when you put them together, or beans and cornbread or something, you're adding a lot of carbs in there. And if you have inclination toward diabetes, type 2, type 1, whatever, type 2 is the kind you get when you have, it's after years of not so great eating and gaining a lot of weight. That, thankfully, is curable. You can get off medication by eating a certain way. There's several doctors, Dr. Eric Berg, B-E-R-G, Dr. Jason Fung, F-U-N-G, and Dr. Ken Berry on YouTube have all kinds of videos about curing type 2 diabetes. But that's for something else. But it's just occurred to me that in your preps, if you are eating a ketogenic or close to ketogenic diet and you're trying to stay away from the carbs, to suddenly have to eat a whole lot of carbs is going to throw your body into a tailspin. So pack up on these, which also get your body used to eating less food at the same time. Maybe start practicing some intermittent fasting. I often go to bed very early, and a lot of times I'll skip supper entirely. Drives my husband crazy. He says, I know you hate me to ask this, but what do you want for supper? And I said, don't even ask me that. Don't ask me. So a lot of times I just skip it. He's like, gotta have 3 meals a day. Oh my gosh, I skip breakfast. I've got to eat breakfast, and then I got to eat lunch in 2 hours, and you know, so I don't care. It's like, don't even talk to me about food until I'm hungry. That's kind of the way I've been doing lately. I've lost a good bit of weight, and my BMI, my body mass index, is getting pretty close to normal. So, and I haven't been like that since college, right? I was actually very chubby right before I went to college. My mother put sugar in everything. I mean, everything. She'd take a slice of tomato, put it on a plate, and put sugar on top of it. Who puts sugar on top of a tomato to eat it just like that? That's just gross. But, so I had a sugar addiction. I quit eating sugar for 20 years, literally. No sugar for 20 years. Yes, I ate bread and I ate crackers and things like that, but I didn't eat candy and cookies and things. But when I started easing back into and eat something here and there, I wasn't addicted anymore. I broke the actual addiction. Every once in a while, I'll do a cheat thing and I'll grab me a bag of Oreo cookies. I love Oreo cookies. Okay, grab me a bag of Oreo cookies. I might eat the whole thing, but then that's it, and I'd be gone. That'd be it. The end. But this right here, this is what I think you need to think about, is adding some actual real protein. I'll put a picture of the Keystone can up there that I'm buying. But check into Keystone Meats, and the reason I'm saying it, they're fully cooked, they're chunked, they're not full of broth. It's actually full of meat, I understand. I haven't gotten it yet, haven't opened it yet, but like I said, they have 14-ounce cans and they have 28-ounce cans, and that's the size that we are getting. But please shop the difference between, let's say, Walmart and Amazon, because the prices will vary a lot. So that's what I have to say today, is think about that. And you don't want to just, I mean, I know that, we may be having a supply chain breakdown and all that kind of stuff, but when you think about your preps and you think about no electricity, and meat is kind of a sticky thing here, unless you've home canned a lot of meat or you have a lot of dried meats, you need to think about some really good quality canned meats, good quality single proteins. I think if I like them, I'm going to stock up on those. This man had shelves and shelves of Keystone canned meats up there. So just a thought for everybody. Surviving is one thing, but you still want to do it as nutritionally sound as you can. You don't want to just start eating a bunch of crap foods just because you can't go to the store. You want to try to stock up on some good quality stuff. Yes, I've got oatmeal, the little flavored packets of oatmeal and oats, and we've got grits, corn grits, things like that, but and lots of rice, pounds and bags of rice. parboiled rice, parboiled. If you're going to get white rice instead of brown, get parboiled. It doesn't stick together. It's not sticky rice. The individual grains stay apart when you cook it. But in any case, you may have to learn how to cook it. I could tell you how to cook it, but it's for another video. So that's my take on that. Just a thought today, because when my sister was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I thought, well, she can't go back to eating beans and rice all the time. And a bunch of carbs. She's going to have to go on her. She's going to have to stay on the protein and stay away from the bread, including whole wheat bread, because the bread turns to sugar. It's converted to sugar in your body. So in order to break that cycle in her body, she's going to have to completely change her whole lifestyle. And SHTF and the breakdown of the supply chain and all that's going to really mess that up if she does not have food stored away in protein form. So that's enough rambling. I hope you got the gist of what my message is today. But yeah, these are awesome. These come in so many, and right now prices are going to go up. At $1.24 is still better than $1.50, $1.75, $2. You know what I'm saying? This, I told my husband, I was making the grocery list, and I said, it seems so strange to be buying several $100s worth of food that we already have. He says, but we're investors. He said, we're investing. I said, oh, we're buying low. We're not selling high. We're keeping it. We're not ever selling it. We're keeping it, but we're buying low. Because, like I said, this has already gone up 25%. It may go up to $2 a packet. If this goes up, the canned stuff's going to go up. All beef, fish is all going to skyrocket. So get it while you can at a low price. I've got a whole Rubbermaid tub full of these things, and I usually eat one almost every day for lunch or supper. So that's it. That's my message. Y'all take care, and tell me what you're seeing about prices in your area. How are prices doing in your area? Talk to y'all soon. Bye.